I think it's already been a turning point in my life and my career. I have been yearning for decades for a role of this magnitude and complexity that speaks to great injustice and speaks to the hardships of many, and speaks to something as profoundly universal as a yearning for home, free from persecution, free from oppression, of hatred, intolerance. It's a very different film from The Pianist. It's an entirely different character. I feel incredibly grateful that that opportunity came to me in my life as a young man. It shaped my whole life moving forward. It's given me much greater understanding to the capacity for loss and suffering that exists, and it gave me immense gratitude and consciousness of my own good fortune that in my lifetime I had not endured such horrific circumstances. It gave me a responsibility to represent those who have unfortunately been victimized, and to represent through one man's journey the loss of 6 million lives. And this is a story about hope. It is also about the power of creativity and how the human spirit can persevere, how we can create art and something of enduring value informed through our traumas and our suffering, and how we can leave this world better than before we arrived on this world if we put our hearts and minds to it, and how we must all persevere and how we must all hold each other up. And as I said, they're vastly different stories, but they're of both tremendous significance. They're both tremendous pillars in my life, both spiritually and creatively. I'm grateful to Brady for bringing this into my life. I'm incredibly moved by having had yet another opportunity in my life that I can reach great heights with my work and touch on so many important things that are meaningful in this world.
I get asked, of course, I understand the connection. I get asked about The Pianist all the time. And The Pianist is an extraordinary and gorgeous movie. But I haven't seen The Pianist since it was in theaters. And, you know, for me, Adrien's work with Spike Lee, Tony Kaye, Wes Anderson, Andrew Dominik, I mean, he's committed his entire career to working with the greatest filmmakers on the planet.
It's overshadowed everything, by the way. It's like, you've done this, and now you've done this. And you've been busy. What have you been doing in the meantime?
But it's just worth mentioning that, you know, it's just worth mentioning that because I like The Pianist just as much as everyone else does and really appreciate it. But there were many performances that over the years just, you know, I just thought were incredibly impressive and iconic.
La película es una mirada al pasado de Brutalist, pero aborda temas que siguen totalmente vigentes, como las secuelas de la guerra o la inmigración, un drama que sigue resonando con fuerza. Aquí en España, ayer mismo murieron 50 personas en el mar intentando llegar a Canarias. Os quería preguntar si es importante seguir dando voz a estas historias, especialmente ahora que se extienden los discursos del miedo y el odio, esos discursos que apuestan por levantar muros o acusar a los inmigrantes de comer mascotas.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's a devastating detail. It's a good question. I mean, listen, the reason that I'm making historical movies and that I've devoted my life and career to it, at least on my own personal projects, is because the only way for us to talk about the present is to access the past. And it is one thing to say that history repeats itself. It is another thing to metabolize that and to really feel that as a viewer. And I keep wondering at what point it's going to kick in for everyone, because there is a shocking lack of progress in the last century, especially. I mean, considering all of the technological innovation, I cannot believe that my 10-year-old daughter is inheriting this nightmare. And I am doing everything in my power to leave her a better world than you know how I found it. But frankly, I think that things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. And I'm not a pessimist, and I'm not exactly a cynic. But you know, I am wondering when this, you know, cycle, this vicious cycle of absolute nonsense and bigotry is going to start to, fade a little bit. It's never going to go away. It's never going to go completely away, unfortunately. But I cannot believe that no matter where you are in the world, you look south, east, west, north, and, you know, there are no options. When Donald Trump was elected, everyone said to me, you know, we're moving. I'm like, where are you moving? Like post-Brexit UK or Marine Le Pen in France, or, you know, the Bolsonaro faction. I mean, fortunately, he's not there at the, you know, in power right now in Brazil, but it's, you know, it's very difficult to escape. It is a global problem. It is not a national problem.